To the 5th episode of the Uncertified Pilot Flight Training series. Well, as I mentioned in the last episode, I was planning to do a cross-country flight from here to some other uncontrolled airport, and I asked you guys to send in any destination, uncontrolled destination airport. But when I woke up this morning here in the Netherlands, I thought, well, I would like to do a traffic pattern practice traffic pattern first by night. And also perhaps I have another chance today, later today, I guess this evening, but I don't know for sure, to do another flight. So then we can do that cross-country flight. Either way, my practice goes first. My flight training has the highest priority. And I thought, well, it might be even a lot more challenging to do these traffic patterns at night and to see if I can manage. So today, we're going to do just that. I hope you enjoy.
I'm passing through 500, Shamrock 715. 715, 134.125.
Okie so as you can see, it is quite dark outside. My gosh. Things are gonna get quite challenging, I expect, but still the procedures are generally the same. I guess we need to turn on some more lights while we are flying, but that's it. We're still on PilotEdge. Each and every flight on my PilotEdge. Well, it's good to note that it's currently, can I see that? No, I haven't got my clock here. Let's switch to the browser. Perhaps we can see the Zulu time here. It is 10 hours, yeah, 10 Zulu in the morning. So that means that PilotEdge, the service area, is actually, or the service time is actually still offline. So while we can fly on PilotEdge, especially on uncontrolled airports with other PilotEdge pilots that might be online, the air traffic controllers are actually offline. They only go online in a few hours or so, but it doesn't matter because we just stick to this traffic pattern here at Oceano, and that is all we need to practice our traffic patterns. So that's okay. Well, let's stick to the map while we are at it. Obviously, again, for a traffic pattern, we don't need the sectional chart at all because we're just staying within Oceano's traffic pattern area. But what I did notice, what I thought about yesterday evening when I stopped streaming, I thought, well, let's have a look at the airport diagram of Oceano, because there might be some interesting remarks here. Can I open this? Yeah, so this is the official airport. Let me zoom in here. Diagram of Oceano. There are a couple of airports here, but we need to look at Oceano County. So let's zoom in. Just to have a general idea of the procedures of each airport. Each airport has its own restrictions and procedures, and so it's obviously good to study those before you embark on your flights. And well, as we have been flying on Oceano, we haven't checked that airport diagram of Oceano at all. So let's have a look. Airport remarks. That's actually the most important stuff here. Unattended airport located. Well, that's okay. Fuel available. Ultralight activity on. Parachute jumping. I've seen that icon also on the sectional chart. Recurring flux of waterfowl. The airport, be alert for kites flown along beach. Well, that isn't simulated in Flight Simulator, obviously, but it's, well, I think this information is cool to know. Unserviced area soft, unusable. Taxi lanes very narrow near buildings and parked aircraft. Remember from last time? I mentioned that too when we parked in our new parking spot here on the ramp. I noticed that those taxi lines were quite near the buildings. Well, if we had studied the airport diagram, we would have known before we started. The taxiway lights at exit only. Okay, extremely noise sensitive airport and community. Yeah, so I guess that Oceano isn't very happy to see that we are doing these traffic patterns in the middle of the night. Okay, I agree. I'm a fan of real world settings, but this is getting too much. So we just going to fly here, but it's good to know. What we can do, I read here, is for takeoff runway 29, pilots are requested to maintain runway heading until crossing the shoreline. I guess that we already did last time. To get up to 700 feet, 300 feet below the traffic pattern altitude before we make our cross wind lag turn. But that's a good thing to know. Okay, well, not really very relevant information in our case here at Oceano, but I would like to include these our airport diagrams in my future episodes when we visit, especially when we visit new airports that we need to get familiar with first. Okido, let's go back. Well, there's a lot of information here about Oceano, about the runways, their runway length, what kind of fuel is available, frequencies, very cool stuff. SkyVector is a really nice resource just to browse through and get familiar with all these different information resources. Let's go back another notch here. Okay, Oceano. Cool. Well, let's have a look at the weather, as we do each and every time when we plan to fly. As you can see here, we've got a high pressure area here just on top of us, which oftentimes indicates that it's good weather. Low pressure altitudes are the opposite, bad weather. Now, you can see here there's a low pressure area front line here, a cold front that is coming in. So I expect that there's a lot of clouds, thunderstorms and rain over there that is coming in from the ocean toward the coast, west coast. So let's have a look if the aviation weather experts agree. Yeah. You can already see that is the case. So currently, again, this is the weather. I don't think it's a forecast, but it's the current weather at 06 Zulu. Now it's 10 Zulu. So that's 4 hours ago. And you can see that that low front that we saw at the previous chart, well, kind of corresponds with this marginal VFR weather, right? And as you can see, it is moving toward the coast because the forecasted weather for 18 Zulu, so that's 8 hours away, it is moving, that marginal VFR weather is moving toward, well, here is reaching San Francisco, or here San Francisco, and also Oceano, I guess. But obviously we're not going to fly traffic patterns for 8 hours long, so I guess we are good. This is the graphical AirMat. Oh yeah, what I've noticed is we have been looking to the 3-hour forecasted AirMat, which is not a bad thing, but it's good to know, and I didn't know. So you can actually, we're now looking at 3 hours ahead. We can also look 6 hours ahead. And as you can see, that IFR area here is getting larger, which corresponds to the fact that we see that at low pressure altitude or low pressure front is coming, cold front is coming our way. So in our case, it's much better to look at the 0 hour, I guess, current AirMat. Well, here's Oceano. So there is a IFR. There are IFR weather conditions reported a little bit north of us. Okay, no problem at all. Let's continue. This is AirMat at SIGMET, so this is more like a radar. I don't know why I've included this particular page. I mean, it's good to look at SIGMETs, but this seems to also provide us with satellite imagery, radar, which I've also included in the next pages, the next tabs that I've opened. Still, it doesn't hurt to have additional information. But as you can see, again, a lot of moisture here in the area. I'm still wondering whether this means that it's actually raining over there. I don't think so. I mean, chances are it is raining here in these yellow red spots. High levels of moisture, I guess, lead to rain, precipitation. while these areas, these green areas, especially the blue ones, just indicate that there's relatively more moisture in the air than the other areas here where those indications are not there. So I'm guessing that it's not raining over here, but it's just an indication that cloud formation is going on, I guess. And these might lead to rain clouds. I don't know. That's my guess. We should look that up. Moving on, these are the SIGMET plots. Yeah, so no convective SIGMETs are active currently. It is currently, right? Created at 0955 Zulu. Okay, so that's not that long ago. It's half an hour ago. Going along, well, this is a more like a time lapse of satellite imagery. So as you can see, as usual, clouds or fronts or weather is coming in from the ocean. Which isn't really relevant to us. In our case, it's really not that bad weather. And wind speeds, as you can see, seem to always are localized around the coast or on the ocean before it's coming into on land. And we are not. Can I zoom in? No, I cannot zoom in. This does not affect our flight in our case. Again, radar plot, additional confirming on the previous charts that we've seen, moisture in the air. So we need to take a look at the clouds. Well, at night that's a bit difficult. So in those cases, these weather briefings are especially useful because we cannot rely on our visual reference, just the visual observation of the clouds to see what the weather is like. So this is actually quite relevant for this specific flight. Okay, and then lastly, METARs. Well, as you can see here, VFR, they're in the green. So let's see it. Let's have a look at San Luis. No winds. Again, no winds. Okay, and broken at 11,000 feet. Okay, that's great. And Santa Maria shows 120, 5 knots. Okay, so again, that means winds calm and allows us to depart on virtually any runway heading we like. In this case, this would mean runway 11, but as you know, PilotEdge, the Mooney drone that is constantly flying here in Oceano, is departing from runway 29. Consistently. So let's stick to 29 so then we can line up and go with that flow. Otherwise we will fly into that Mooney, which isn't a good thing. Okay, that's that. Lastly, the area forecast. So again, different areas here covering areas as big as states of the United States. So we need to look at Southern California, this part. Coastal scattered at 10,000, broken CY? I don't know what that means. 08 Zulu was broken at 10,000 tops. Oh yeah, so these are tops. Yeah, so that means that broken cloud ceiling reaches up to flight level 180. Does that mean? I guess so. It seems obvious, but well, let me know, guys, what you think. And 13 Zulu scattered at 2,500. Outlook VFR, inland, Outlook VFR, international, I don't know, mountain. This might be some area depiction or region, specific region or something like that. Deserts, sky or scattered. Clear skies means? I don't know what that means. And broken, and I don't know what the CR is for. Outlook VFR. Well, that's the most important part, obviously, that Outlook is VFR, and that's also why it's so useful to have studied the previous maps, so we do our own interpretation ourselves based on all those different maps and then see if that kind of like aligns with what we see here, and it does. So we are good here. Again, NOTAMs, well, not that useful for Oceano Connie, but I'm just incorporating this as part of the routine. which in future episodes might be much more relevant. Oceano, no active NOTAMs for this location. Okay, finally, PilotEdge. Well, we're just staying within the traffic pattern of Oceano, so we don't need a flight plan. We could file a VFR flight plan. It doesn't concern the PilotEdge air traffic controllers, especially now when PilotEdge is offline. At least the air traffic controllers are offline. We're currently on PilotEdge, so the drones will be there, and perhaps other pilots that are flying currently. I mean, in Europe now, the Saturday has just started, so we wake up and like to fly. So I guess that's a disadvantage of living here in Europe. PilotEdge awakens at around 5 in the afternoon here. So usually when I fly in the evenings, we do have air traffic controllers online on PilotEdge. Well, that's just reality. Nothing we can do about that. So I thought, well, I'm also always flying on local time here. Let's switch back to the cockpit in Flight Simulator. So obviously now, while it's in the morning hours here in the Netherlands, it's in the middle of the night of Oceano. And obviously in the real world, we wouldn't fly in the middle of the night, especially because we just read that Oceano is has a quite noise-sensitive community. But this is then Flight Simulator, and I said, okay, well, I think that is okay for flight training purposes here in Flight Simulator. So we are going to fly and practice our traffic patterns for a couple of patterns, just to see if we can be consistent in our procedures. And also, because it is at night, it might be a lot more challenging. Good morning, guys. Thank you for joining in. I guess we will also see some other guys on chat today, because this is an entirely different hour of flying. So hopefully I get to know some new pilots here. Okay, so we're back in the cockpit. Quite dark, so I guess we need to do our cold and dark checks with the panel lights on. I mean, that makes sense, right? I need to activate my trim here. Boom, boom. Okay, there it is. I forgot about that. Okay, so let's start. Let's see if I can keep up with the flow here. Europe reporting. Good, guys. Let your friends know that we're trying to fly here. It's going to be a challenging flight to do just basic traffic patterns here at night, but it's going to be challenging, I expect. Okay, batteries on. Bloop. Yep, looks good. And then panel lights, which I programmed in. Where is the panel button? Here it is. Does it work? No, it doesn't work. Okay, so then I need to go to the settings menu. Doesn't it work? Let me check. Bloop. It is panel light, right? Yeah. Okay. So I would like to put on the floodlights, the dim lights. Those are the best, I believe, to have a better picture of what is going on in the cockpit. Looks cool. So this is actually draining the battery. Well, not that much I can see here. So we shouldn't be too worried of draining the battery before we actually start. Oh, we can see some flight activity there. Perhaps it's the Mooney. Our trusty Mooney getting in the way. Okay, cold and dark. So return to TrackIR. Bloop, there we are. Let's center. Oh yeah, I've got some announcements to make. Forgot about that. Each and every time I kind of like skip through the previous episode to learn about the stuff that you guys mentioned and found some good suggestions. Let me go to my notes app here. First off, I found out, I tried in the previous episode to get my dad on here within Flight Simulator by voice chat. I think it's really cool to chat with him. He's also a Flight Simulator pilot, and we can chat about Flight Simulator and make these flights more interactive, perhaps, just as an experiment. But unfortunately, it seems like his Wi-Fi router isn't that powerful enough to manage downloading my stream and voice chatting at the same time. At least that's what it seems like. He has a great internet connection, but he has a very old router, so we think that might be the problem. We had some technical issues last episode, so we are working on that, and when it does work, he comes on. Thank you, Boomflare. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I said in my previous episodes. I also think it's quite boring to look at an airliner just an airplane fly itself and just a static view. This is hands-on, minds-on flying. It's much more dynamic. And again, I'm not underestimating the complexity of flying an airliner from A to B, using all the procedures and configuring all the FMC stuff. It is challenging, but still, flying VFR, you should challenge those guys to fly VFR one time on PilotEdge, and you will be amazed how bad they are. I expect how bad they are in flying that airplane. And well, I really like to learn how to fly. That's the gist of this flight simulator training series, episode 5. We're just beginning. I'm trying to master these basic fundamental flight procedures. So I hope you enjoy and perhaps get inspired too to get some more hands-on flight skill challenges here. But okay, so that concerns my dad. Then I already mentioned I planned to do a cross-country flight by the end of that's the Mooney just landed in front of us. AI traffic generated by PilotEdge. But I'm not going to do a cross-country flight right now because I'm going to do those traffic patterns. Perhaps this evening, later today, I will do another flight and do that cross-country flight. I've asked you guys to send me in any uncontrolled airport. Thank you for following, Boomflare. Thank you. I've asked you guys to send in a destination airport, an uncontrolled airport within the vicinity of Oceano, where we are currently. So go to SkyVector, and I'm not really ready to fly a very long flight, a long distance flight. So a nearby uncontrolled airport that isn't a private airport that we can fly to do our first kind of cross-country flight, which I'm really looking forward to do. And perhaps while we're flying, we could do some slow flight training and stalls. And I haven't done those in a long time, so that might be challenging too. Okay, next up, I've asked you guys about the pitot tube cover. If that should be on each and every time. I thought it should only be on when the outside air temperature is when it is freezing outside. It seems like a jacket to me almost that you put on the pitot tube. But my dad said, well, that might be true, but isn't it safe to put it on each and every time, because also it prevents dust and bugs and other stuff going into the pitot tube? Well, that makes sense too. And you guys said he's right. You should always put on the pitot tube cover, also because you have it and you don't need to store it, so just put it on anyway. It doesn't hurt. So I will do that. Put on the pitot tube cover each and every time when we finish our flights. Pitot tube cover always on, yeah, and that's it. And I've also that's also a good remark. I fixed that in one of the previous episodes, but I didn't do that in the right way. I've pitched up my or I don't know how I say that in English, but I was too low in my seat in the previous flights, so I actually need to see a little bit of the cowling of the front of the airplane while I'm sitting here. So I've have a much higher point of view right now, which seems more realistic. That was a good remark by you guys, good comments. So I've changed that too. Also making it much more easy to see the runway and what I'm doing in front of me. So that's the idea. Okay, that were the announcements. Putting my iPhone back in my pocket. Still we're draining the battery. This is not a really efficient way of doing things. Let's get on with it. So cold and dark checks. Control wheel lock removed. Yeah, can you see the parking brakes? Well, I can see the mouse cursor change here. So, and also my Saitek panel shows that parking brakes are set, so that's good. Live fast oxygen in or beneath our seat. Well, let's check that they are there. Fire extinguisher checked. Windows, let's open those to prevent fogging up the windows. ELT is set to auto. Cabin air is open on, retracted our flaps. Mixture, full aft, prop full in. Throttle, fully aft. No crossfeeding, so that's a fuel selector. It's good. Trim is set a little bit too much nose down. Yeah, so that's about right. These radio panels are all off. Alternate static air is off in other terms. Well, we put on our panel lights and all our lights are off except for the beacon light, which should always be on. And obviously when we fly at night, we also need to turn on our navigation lights at all times, which we're going to do when we start up our engine, I guess. Let's check the checklist, see the checklist, and our taxi lights while we are taxiing. Okay, so everything is cold and dark. Then we can go on with checking the systems. So first off, we will put on all the lights. Landing light, taxi light, strobe light, nav light, and the pitot heat, but the pitot tube cover is still on, so I'm going to remove that one first. Whoop, pitot tube cover removed. Yeah, and yeah, you can already see the lights working, but we need to do an exterior walk around to make sure. So again, this view, guys, there are so many buttons here on my Yoke. Yeah, that's the view. Because it is EZDOK bug, I need to do this in a very weird manner, but still. Let's have a look here. This is the stall warning. It's over there. Let's see if we can hear it. Yeah, that's working. Then we go to the front of the plane. Let's see if those lights are working. I'm only seeing the landing light. Or is it the taxi light? And that's a good thing to check. I would like to pause my TrackIR. Is it on? It is on here. So, okay, let's continue with our walk around. And let's see in the cockpit if it's also virtually turned on. Because this is weird. Our taxi light or our landing light should work at all times. Navigation lights, strobe light there is blinking. Yeah, that's good. Moving along, click, 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 click. Back of the plane, position lights are on, beacon light is on. Everything looks okay. And then finally, the pitot tube, pitot tube cover. Boom. No, it's not working either. That is interesting. Okay, so we've got some issues here. Let's see if those stuff is really on. Is my Saitek panel? Yeah, as you can see, these are not turned on. So my Saitek panel is giving issues here. So again, pitot heat. Or no, I forgot about turning on the pitot heat. Okay, so turn that on. Landing lights are off, and the taxi lights. Ah, the taxi light switch didn't go. Yeah, I've got trouble with my Saitek panel here. It has trouble turning on the taxi lights. Okay, so let's put those on. Strobe light off, navigation lights off. Final time. Click, 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 click. Have a look at our landing lights. Yeah, now the other light is on, so okay, that is working. And reliably when I switch the switch. So that's a good thing. And now I would like to see whether the pitot tube is, pitot heat is actually working. And now it is. Okay. And that was working reliably too, guys? Let's check, make sure. Yeah. So I need to check the taxi light button configuration tool in my driver settings. Okay. And so the taxi lights can be turned off. Yeah, for now. Okay. Then I need to verify, as always, and I forgot about my first cold and dark check. Always check, verify the checklist, verify your flow by looking at the checklist. So reset cabin. Should have done this before. Cabin windows, ELT, flaps, levers, avionics master off, alternator, battery, magnetos. Yeah, we checked. Then the pre-flight interior inspection that we just completed. Batteries on. We did all the lights and the pitot heat. Stall warning we did. Avionics. Oh yeah, we should continue. Obviously, we just did the exterior check, but we should also check the interior. Oh my gosh, yeah. Sorry guys. Indeed, I need to look more at the chat or more at my streaming stuff. Would be cool if, I don't know if that's the case, if I can assign moderator moderators to Twitch that if they say something or I can hear something like a ping or something like that, that grabs my attention. Okay, so Yeah, so I need to finish and complete my interior inspection here because we're not finished at all. TrackIR on. Now avionics we turn on. Beep. Yeah, this is all on. This is on standby. VFR, everything is on. This is ADIS of San Luis. This is the CTF of Oceano. This is all on. Let's check whether the annunciator panel is actually working. It is, and it doesn't show low fuel, which corresponds with the fuel gauge. This all is okay. We're going to set this soon. Okay. Clock is okay, and everything is okay. So we can turn off the avionics and we can turn off the batteries. Yeah, and now everything is dark again. Okay, so now we can do an exterior pre-flight, which is going to be challenging, I guess, in the dark. But let's do that. Lip. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. And I should have verified the checklist. I'm too hasty, guys. Because I should have pulled down the flaps so we can check whether the flaps are working. So batteries on, flaps down. And we should check whether those flaps come down in the same rate. Yeah, so I should be much more focused and careful here and verify my flow afterwards to see if I haven't forgotten any items. Okay, now we have done it, I believe. We've completed that. Let's check DME radio, annunciator, avionics, flaps. Yeah, and battery off. Okay. Okay, let's continue. Outside, view. Yeah, so here we are at the left wing, flap wiggle. It wiggles. Hinges look good. Ailerons look good. Hinges. Stallwing already checked. We don't have any tie downs because there were no tie down spots here. Fuel vent clear. Wheel chocks removed. Fuel drain not showing any contamination. Fuel quantity 31 gallons. Oil between 9 and 6 quarts, good color. Intakes, no bird nest, no other stuff going on there. In front of the plane, overall structure looks good. Fuel drain underneath, no contamination. Static airport, which is over here, clear. On the right wing, gallons 30 is enough for this traffic pattern flight. Again, drain on the other wing, no contamination. Fuel chocks removed. My gosh, it's dark. Tie down we don't have. Fuel vent we checked. Ailerons on the other wing. Hinges look good. Wiggle. There is a wiggle. Hinges look good. Tie down, there's no tie down. All bolts are in, looks good. Here too. Then the wiggle of the trim tab. Good. Baggage door is over here. Yep, it's closed. And we already checked the pitot tube. So that completes the exterior pre-flight inspection. Let me see. And I forgot about the antennas. It's not included in the A2A walk around, so that's why I seem to forget. But I would also like to check and verify whether the antennas are all intact and look good, and the windshield. There are some other additional items here on my student checklist that I made for the A2A's Cessna. Free download on uncertifiedpilot.com, by the way, that I would like to include in my exterior pre-flight, so inspection. Yeah. So the transponder antenna, marker beacon antenna, the storm scope antenna. We don't have any storm or GPS here that makes use of that, but still. Okay, so that's completed. No worries. We don't need to visit the maintenance hangar. So we can continue with the before engine start checklist. Yeah, and that's first passengers and baggage on board. Guys, are you sitting comfortably? Get a seat, strap your seatbelts, fasten your seatbelts. Cabin doors can be closed. Let's open this window again to prevent fogging up the windows because A2A simulates that. Passenger briefing. Yeah, so what we're going to do, guys, is traffic pattern flying. We're going to take off from runway 29, although at Santa Maria Airport, a few miles south of us, winds indicate 120 at 9. Oh no, not at 9, at 4 it was, or something like that, so that's winds calm. And because that Mooney here on Oceano, that drone airplane, is flying from 29, I think it's more safe to get align ourselves with that flow. So it's going to be 29, so we're going to taxi here to the right to runway 11 all the way around to 29 and then depart, do a run up and then depart. Pilot briefing. Well, I don't have any co-pilot, but this is just for myself. VMC, IMC. Well, it was good weather, and I guess that's the challenge. We can see some clouds, but it's very hard to see any clouds at night. So we cannot rely on our visual reference here, and that is why it's so important to do that weather briefing that we did at the beginning of the episode here. Winds are okay. Expected runway, well, 29. Expected taxiway, I just mentioned. Runway length is okay. Departure and route, well, we just stay into the traffic pattern, so left-hand patterns, and that's it. Okay, so now we can preset for engine start. We need to do a brake test, so release the parking brakes and put my feet on the rudder pedals and make sure that it's working. That's okay. Parking brakes set again. Beacon light verify on. It is on. And navigation lights, yeah, we should put those on 2 now because we're on at night, which is new. Avionics verify off. They are off. Call flaps are fully open. No, they are now. And the fuel tank selector should be turned to both. Yeah, I think that's okay. We should check that when the lights are on because this is hard. Okay, so now batteries on. There's the dim light. Yeah, it's fuel tank selector set to both. That's okay. So here we go. This is the flow of starting up our engine, which I know by heart, I hope. Throttle, 1/4 inch open. Then we're gonna prime the engine, fuel pump. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, up. Cut off, fuel pump off. Hand on the mixture lever. And let's make sure that no one is walking around. No people flow by ORBX. No, there isn't. And the parking brakes are set. Let me check for sure. Yeah, it is. Okay, so let's start up the engine. Clear prop. There it goes. No, it doesn't go. Again. Here we go. Yeah, there it went. 1200. Okay, engine oil pressure coming up is in the green. We don't have any annunciator messages other than volts, which means we need to turn on our generator, which is now on. So that's a good thing. Yeah, and now we should lean for ground operations. So lean on the mixture until we see a slight drop in RPM. There it is. So that's max RPM. Set to 1000 RPM and allow the engine to warm up. Then avionics can be set on and the flaps can be retracted. There we go. There they go. So this is all set. Autopilot we don't use. Let's set the transponder to on. Verify that it's on VFR 1200. There it is. On. This is all set. So now we can listen to ADIS. Get my iPad here to make those notes, guys. If you like, it's a good exercise. Ride with me. ADIS information. I'm a newbie, so this is something that is still part of my practice. Let's go. I need to get a scratch pad here. Yeah, clear. I love the way ForeFlight is actually made these templates, these scratch pad templates that you can use to write on. Structures already your notes for ADIS. Okay. So here we go. San Luis ADIS we already put in 120.6. Let's go.
San Luis Airport information, Tango 1107 Zulu. Wind calm, visibility greater than 20 miles. Sky condition, ceiling 1000 broken.
You have Tango.
Short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact. You have Tango.
Okay.
San Luis, report information. Tango.
Okay, so altimeter 3013. 3013. Again, we 3013. Yeah, 13. High pressure, which confirms our weather briefing, right, guys? It was a high pressure area was on top of us, so it makes sense that this altimeter setting is much higher than before. What was it? 3013, so a little bit higher. Yeah, corresponds with the airport elevation. Cool. Going much better. Winds are calm, so that's okay. Yeah, that's that. So we checked ATIS. COM is already set. Clock then. So select. I like to have this on Zulu time at all times. And no, I shouldn't push that one. I would like to see the temperature also, because when we have freezing conditions or below 10 degrees Celsius, which is currently the case, I've read that it's good to turn on the pitot heat when there's a lot of moisture in the air, clouds, to prevent our pitot tube freezing up. Okay, let's check. I think that was it. Engine starts, blip, magnetos we all checked, area we did, oil pressure we checked, leaning flaps we did, avionics on transponder we checked, comm radios we checked, ATIS we checked, altimeter we set, heading indicator. Yeah, we can cross-check our compass. Ah, there's that Mooney again. So it's now our heading indicator shows 200. What does our compass show? Oh my god! Oh man, I cannot read that at all. 21. Yeah, 200 it corresponds. That's okay. Set the heading mark to 29, which is also useful because we're going to take off from runway 29. Clock we did. Transponder, heading bar, taxi light, and wait for the oil and cylinder head temperature. Yeah, which should be in the green before we do our run up. But before taxi, we can already taxi when they're not in the green, but we should be careful not to get too much high RPM. Below 1400 RPM is recommended. As you can see, oil temperature is not that high yet, so we should be careful not get into high RPM yet. But we can taxi. Okay, so I forgot about, so the flow is kind of like, so you turn on the engine, then the engine is on, then you flip the avionics master, then you go to the right, retract the flaps, then you go up, check all these instruments, then ATIS, then you go to this direction, check the heading indicator, cross-check, heading bug, then the clock, and then back, and that's it. That's the flow. Okay. So now we can taxi. It's sure to turn on my taxi lights. There they are. And let's taxi to the right and cross the runway and do a proper announcements. Seems about right, I guess. Okay. Parking brakes released. So there we go. Brake chest. Yeah, I didn't forget about that this time. Now we make a turn. Let's see if the turn indicator turns with it, turns in the right direction. Yeah, and the slip indicator the opposite direction, which is good. Okay, and we don't need any cross correction here, crosswind correction, because there are no winds. Oceana traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango Mike is crossing runway 11 at the number, so Oceana. Or I should have checked first before I made my announcement, because there's only one on final on departure. It doesn't make sense, or it's actually quite distracting to make that announcement. Okay, we crossed. Oceana traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango Mike is clear runway 11. Oceana. Here we go. Wow, this is different at night. It looks nice though. Yeah, do you still think that the point? I mean, the Skyline is much more, has a much bigger engine, and so it seems that on YouTube you actually need to, in comparison to the Skyhawk, the dashboard or the glare shield is much more high up in the Skyline than for the than the Skyhawk's case. So I think this is okay. I've seen very unrealistic point of view settings in other streams and YouTube movies, so there we go. I'm hearing some activity here. Oh, I see the Mooney in front of me. My gosh, that I didn't see it. I guess because his taxi lights aren't turned on, are not turned on. Sorry. Only those navigation and strobe lights are hard to see. Okay, so we are second in line. That's new. Engine is starting to warm up, as you can see. Cylinder head temperature is in the green. Oil temperature is almost in the green. We're doing our best to keep those RPM settings low. And I also noticed that around 900 RPM, depending on the wind. Let's keep on the line here, the taxiway. That about 900 RPM is a good taxi speed, a constant taxi speed RPM setting. Okay, so he's going to the run-up area. So what we're going to do is do our run-up too. I'm just going to do it right here. So let's make a turn. Like so. Parking brakes are set. First, verify that cylinder head temperature and the oil pressure is in the green. It is not. So let's just keep our engine in that 1000 RPM setting mode and just wait for it to warm up while the other guy is doing his run up. And we're waiting. We can turn off, or we should turn off, our taxi lights right now. Not only because it isn't useful because we're not taxiing, but also because if there are any other aircraft that are arriving on Oceano, which is the case, but that could be the case, that taxi light is quite distracting because we're just pointing towards toward their direction. Now he's putting on his landing lights. So what we can do is just follow along and park at the run-up area. There we go. Not going too fast. Okay. There we go. And let's make a turn here. This is okay. Parking brakes set. There's the Mooney. Okay, so are we now in the green? Yes, we are. Okay, so we can safely do our run up. So what we do first, and I'm going to verify my checklist soon, but by heart. Close the windows to prevent any dust or other stuff coming in when we go to high RPM settings. Then full mixture, full prop. Trim, everything is set. I think that is the only preparation here. Let's check. Run up. No, it's over. Is it over here? Run up. Parking brakes, taxi lights. Yeah, flight controls we should do first. I forgot about that tune last time. So to the left is right down. Yeah. And to the right, left down. That's cool. Those are our elevators. And those are the rudder. It's all working. Okay, flight control check. Com radio, we already did. Yeah, and then we do. Okay, so we only forgot about the flight control check. Okay, so here we go. 1800s RPM. There we go. We don't see any annunciator messages here. Oil pressure is still in the green. Everything looks stable. No weird stuff going on. Okay, so let's do the magneto check. Right. Seems okay. Back to both. That was left, by the way. Now we're going to the right one. It's okay too. Much better than last time. Then we're gonna check whether the battery is working. So we're gonna flip on our landing lights very briefly to see if we see a dip here at the ammeter. Bloop. Yeah, we see. So the generator is working. Then 3 cycles by prop. First time RPM. Obviously that is working. The governor is working. Then the manifold pressure to see if there's a slow rise. There is a slow rise. So that's also confirms that the governor is working. And lastly, the oil pressure should drop but then stabilize again automatically in the green, which it does. Okay, so the prop is working too. Then full idle, or just idle, cut off. No messages on the annunciator panel. Still oil pressure is good, everything is good. Okay, that completes the run up, I believe. Back to 1000, we can keep in the mixture because we are planning to depart. Again, checklist, see if we didn't forget about anything. Propeller brakes, throttle. Yeah, so in the real world I should have pressed the brakes manually, even while the parking brake is on, just in case if the parking brake is released while you do your run up, you rocket off into the abyss. So that's not a good thing. But unfortunately in Flight Simulator, when you press the brakes, the parking brakes are released too, which is a bummer and has been a frustration for a long time, but well, that's the reality. So that's why I didn't do that. Alternator we checked, vacuum we checked, cylinder head temperature, annunciators, propeller cycle we did, throttle. Yeah, cool. So flight controls was something that I forgot to check before. So now we can depart. So again, windows are closed, transponder set to altitude. Let's turn on the landing lights and strobe lights. We set the trim to okay, we don't use any flaps, or I'm not using any flaps. The compass cross checked and the heading buck is set. Left hand departures or left hand close traffic. Couple of lapses. We're ready. No one is in the pattern. No one is on arrival. No one is on the runway. So let's go. Oh. Oceano traffic. Skyline Papa Hotel Tango Mike is departing runway 29 for left close traffic Oceano. We are on PilotEdge, and even on uncontrolled airports we need to do these announcements. There we go. Throttle in. Everything is in the green. Yeah, so let's increase throttle power. Full power. Stay on the runway. Stay on the center line. Airspeed's alive. 50. 60. Rotate. There we go. Keep in that rudder. Right rudder. And go to VY. Pitch up to keep it there, because we're now going too fast. My god, how high up, pitched up can we go with this Skyline? It's a little bit too much of right rudder, I see. Keep on heading. Almost at 700, 300 feet below traffic pattern. So we're gonna look to the left, no one there. Let's make that shallow 15-degree max turn. Until we reach 1000 feet, which is the traffic pattern altitude. My god, this is IFR flying. Okay, drop down, standard rate turn, watch that heading bug, level, throttle back. There we are, there's the crosswind lag. So, straight heading. Good, I need to trim, because my Skyline likes to go up. And now we're going to make our downwind leg. Everything seems clear, going well, not pitching up. Standard rate turn. Oceano traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango Mike is turning left downwind, runway 29, touch and go, Oceano. Well, that's too much going down. Going much too fast. Oh man, this is oh yeah, this is challenging. Okay, 1000 feet, downwind leg, not too bad. Still, I need some more nose down trim. Yeah. Oceano should be on the left side. It is, and we're parallel with the runway, which is good. And trimmed. Right turn. Let's use the rudder. Yeah. Not bad at all. Wow. Okay, but we need to stay focused here because we're now midfield. So we're gonna put in one notch of flaps first. Yeah, we're expecting a nose up behavior, so we push down to counter that. Slow down a bit, and we can also very gradually start the descent already. Well, I can be more precise on the heading there. There we go. In comparison with last time, I would like to keep my traffic patterns nice and tight. In the last episode, my first lapses or my first patterns, I extended my downwind leg far too much. There we go. So we're already slowly descending. Okay, let's make our turn. No one is there. Oceana traffic, Skyline, Papa Hotel Tango, and Mike is turning left base, runway 29, touch and go, Oceana. There comes the heading bug. Man, this is difficult. Something else entirely. Next flap, 20 degrees. We're too high. And that's because we're not descending. Okay, there we go. No one on final. There's the runway, let's turn. Oceana traffic, Skyline, Papa Hotel Tango, and Mike is turning left final, runway 29, touch and go, Oceana. There it is. Keep that speed in. Or out, because we're going much too fast. So let's forward slip. I'm putting right rudder here, while ailerons to the left. So we put our ass in the air, or our ass in the upwind direction. So we slow down much quickly, while we drop like a stone, which is a good procedure to very quickly lose altitude while keeping your airspeed low. Full flaps, field made. Remove the forward slip. I have no clue where the runway, what the elevation is. It's hard to determine by just looking at the lights. 65 knots. There we go. Okay, again, that trick, look at the far end of the runway. Not where we would like to touch down, but the far end of the runway. Come on, Tim. A little bit too hard. Flaps up. On the center line, full throttle. Let's go. Was too late pulling on the yoke there. 60, rotate. Let's go. Keep in that right rudder. Allow the airplane to speed up here. So not too high up pitch. There is VY. Push up. Keep it on runway heading. Come on. Still, we can go much higher. We're still increasing speed. Oh man, this skyline is a beast. Okay. There's 700 feet, making that shallow turn to the left while keeping in right rudder, and I should have looked first if there was no other traffic. There isn't. There we go. There is 1000 feet, so leveling off, pushing down on the yoke. We can increase now our rate, turn rate to standard rate. We can, oh, no, not descending. Not going too fast. There's the crosswind leg. I'm behind the game here. Remove the rudder. There we are, good speed, crosswind leg. Look outside, no traffic. Let's make the turn to downwind. Oceana traffic, Skyline, Papa Hotel Tango, and Mike is turning left downwind, runway 29, touch and go, Oceana. Not descending. I'm always descending in my turns, so I should pitch up first. There's the downwind leg, and level off. And we are 100 feet too low. And I'm noticing that I need to pull on the yoke, so adjust my trim a bit. There we go. Parallel to the runway. I guess, let's cross-check our compass. 12, 11, a little bit more. Yeah, it's okay. Nose down. Keep on that heading, Tim. You're drifting off. Yeah, that's better. Now, in the meantime, that Mooney make some kind of a tour here around Oceano-Connie. Not traffic patterns, but some kind of tour. And is going to return soon, so we need to keep an eye out for that Mooney. Counter that flap adjustment. We're now 100 feet too high. A little bit sloppy. I mean, it isn't bad for beginners, but not going too slow. Okay. Let's make our turn. No traffic. Oceano traffic. Skyline Papa Hotel Tango India Mike is turning left base runway 29. Touch and go, Oceano. There we go. I'm expecting we're much too high because we haven't descended at all. There we go. Another notch of flaps. Oh yeah, we're much too high. Again, forward slip. To keep our airspeed there while we are dropping much faster. Oh, we should have turned already. Oh, this is getting sloppy, guys. Oceano traffic. Skyline Papa Hotel Tango Mike is turning left. Final runway 29. Touch and go, Oceano. Wow, this is bad. You can see how very small mess ups immediately lead to big mess ups. Okay, so here we go. Lots of right rudder here while using aileron adjustments to keep on track. Field made. Full flaps. Well, extreme forward slipping with full flaps isn't recommended, but we did it anyway. Remove that forward slip. Speed is okay. Well, we recovered from that. There we go. Still a bit too high. Now focus. Slow. Allow the airplane to flare. Not good at all. Flaps up. Keep on the runway. Full power. 50. 60. Rotates. Nose up. Keep in that right rudder. Again. I mean, it's incredible how more easy it is to fly these traffic patterns with visual references. Okay, keep that on 80 knots. Oh, still pitching up. We could also call ourselves Space Shuttle on the CTEF. Let's do that. Okay, shadow turn to the left. We're not doing our crosswind announcements, by the way, because I've read somewhere that that is not really necessary. CTEF frequencies are often shared among other airports, and so when it's busy on the channel, it's good to not do too many announcements, because then others cannot announce, or announcements get confused with different airports and, well, stuff happens. Oh, come on, focus. Crosswind. Remove rudder inputs. A little bit more speed here. Let's have a look to the left. There's an airplane, but it's not on traffic pattern, I guess. Space Shuttle, Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike is turning left downwind, runway 29, touch and go, Oceano. Okay, there we are. Downwind. There's another airplane. Would that be the Mooney? It's on our altitude. Well, and this is the most challenging part of flying in uncontrolled airspace. There's no air traffic controller who guides us and makes sure that we are clear from other aircraft. So actually now on the CTEF frequency, if it was a real world pilot, it would be quite safe for him to make an announcement what he is doing and what altitude he is, but I guess that's a drone. Or you could say, it is as pilots, as a pilot, you are not obliged to make any radio announcements on uncontrolled airports. It's not safe at all, so it's highly or strongly recommended to do so, to make announcements. But it's legal not to. There are even aircraft who don't have radio, so it's always good to have an eye out. Well, he's much more high up, so that's okay. There's Oceano. Starting our descent gradually. Okay, let's wait a little bit longer, because otherwise we end up being much too high. But we're already descending, so let's make that turn. No traffic. Oceana traffic. Skyline Papa Hotel Tango and Mike is turning left base. Runway 29. Touch and go, Oceana. There we go. We're good on the speed. Look for that heading bug. It's there. So on base. Put in that other notch of flaps. Watch that speed. Okay, much better altitude. Make sure we don't overshoot it. No other air traffic. Let's make that turn. Oceana traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike is making a left turn for final runway 29. Touch and go. Well, we're still too high. And we're too fast. So again, I'm going to put in some forward slip here. Right rudder, left aileron. Put our back into the wind, the back of the airplane. Come on. Ah, there's the Mooney. Apparently it was already on the ground. Remove the forward slip. Okay, come on. I carried out such a great landing in the previous episode. So soft and gentle. But at night it's a completely different ball game. Okay, let's go, let's go. I haven't put down full flaps. Okay, end of the runway, end of the runway, end of the runway, end of the runway, end of the runway. Well, better, but not great. Okay, last pattern. Full throttle. 60 rotate, nose up. Allow that airspeed to increase. There it is. Keep heading, runway heading. Pitch up. Keep it at VY 80 knots. There it is. Still keeping in that right rudder. Full power setting. Other airplane there in front of us. Much high up. Waiting for that 700 feet. There it is. Shallow turn to the left. No traffic left. 15-degree bank. Keeping that airspeed on 80 knots. It's coming. We're decreasing speed. Yeah, it's okay. There is traffic pattern altitude. Pitch down. We can increase our turn rate to standard rate turn. Keep on altitude, Tim. Throttle back. Crosswind leg. Less power. Keep that nose down. I mean, instrument flying is hard. Man, pitch down a bit. No traffic on the left. Let's turn. Standard rate turn. 30 degrees. Keep that nose up. I'm still pitching down when I make that turn. Oceana traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango Mike is turning left downwind, runway 29 for full stop, Oceana. There is the downwind leg, heading bug behind us. Overshoot it a bit. Speed is too much. About 100 knots is okay, or 90 knots. And again, I also mentioned in the previous episodes, imagine doing this with other real-world pilots on PilotEdge, actual pilots, in the traffic pattern. So you need to ensure proper aircraft separation yourself while managing the airplane. I mean, wow. This is not even the full-blown exercise. Okay, a little bit too low. Speed is okay. Oceano is on the left. We're already past the numbers. Put in one notch of flaps. Counter that with push forward yoke. Good. Still, I need to push too much, so a little bit less. Well, nose down trim. Nose down, come on, descend. Descend already. There we are. Let's make that turn. No traffic there. Oceano traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango on your mic is turning left base, runway 29, full stop, Oceano. There we go. Steady. Descend. There's the heading bug, so we're now on base. That second notch of flaps, 20 degrees. 80 knots is perfect. Altitude is perfect. And no other traffic inbound. Okay, we're going too slow now. There's the runway, there's another aircraft. Okay, no concern to us. Not an, no factor. Let's make the turn. Oceano traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango on your mic is turning left final, runway 29, full stop, Oceano. Going too slow. But if we are too high, we can just simply pitch down to increase our airspeed and lose altitude at the same time. So I shouldn't use my throttle too much to regulate my speed, but rather use pitch. Okay, here we are. We're going much too fast. Our landing speed should be 65 knots. So pull out the yoke. Pitch up a bit because we're now a bit too low. So there goes the airspeed. Put in a little bit of more power. Full flaps. Okay. Oh, keep it there, Tim. Yeah. It's a little bit messy, but we get there. Okay. Relax. Use the force. There we go. There we go, there we go, there we go. On center line, pitch up, end of the runway, no. It fell down on me. It's going too slow. Aerodynamic braking. Flaps up. Where is the next exit? Keep in that speed because we need to exit the runway as quickly as possible. Oh, here it is. There it is. Oceano traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango on your mic is clear runway 29, Oceano. Okay, there we are, and stop. Oh man. Ugh. Okay, so here we are. First we're going to do is landing lights off, strobe lights off. Taxi lights, were those still on? No, those were off. We can turn off the transponder or set it to on. That's actually the right procedure. Then, well, it's still at 1000. It's okay. We can just lean here, about so. And that's it. We can now taxi to parking. I believe this is the before taxi to parking. Landing lights off, strobe lights off, pilot heats off, throttle, mixture, throttle, flaps, cowl flaps. Cowl flaps, well we didn't, yeah, should always put this on, put those cowl flaps open when we do traffic patterns and high power settings. They should be open. If we do cross country flights, they can be closed once we have completed our climb to cruise altitude. Transponder set to alt or on. Airport diagram we don't need. Yeah, we did that. So taxi to parking. Using crosswind direction or soft wheeled correction if we need to, but we don't need that. So let's return to that same taxi spot over there, making sure our left wing doesn't scratch those hangars. So here we go, putting on those taxi lights, bloop, park and brakes released. Okay. Oceano County at night. Okay, don't need to run into that car. There's the taxi line. Remember what the airport diagram description said, that these taxiways are quite nearby those hangars and you should be careful. the same time though, be careful not to bump into those airplanes with my right wing. So let's just trust the taxi line again. Okay, not too fast, not too fast, not too fast. Here it is. Can I see the taxi? Yeah, I can see it. Here it is. Here it is, here it is, here it is, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. No, a little bit to the left. Come on, baby. Yeah. Well, it's okay. Not bad. Parking brakes set. Then transponder set to standby for our next flight. And we can turn off the avionics first. Then mixture cutoff. Wait until the prop stops. Wiggle. There it is. Ignition switch to off. Batteries off. Generator off. And there we are. Although that's not really that practical because we also need to do some other things and we need some light. So reset trim. Cowl flaps closed. Mixture forward. Control wheel lock in. Seat belts off. Unfastened and the door can be opened. And now we did that and we should actually... Well, why did my panel light? It didn't work. I've got it programmed, but it doesn't work. I should look into that soon. So we are going to use this window to turn off the floodlights. I mean, this is too bright for me. And also, by the way, at night, no one uses these lights to fly in the real world. You use those panel lights, which I don't like actually in Flight Simulator. They don't look pretty, so I'm using just one of those lights, as I did in this episode. Off, and I would like to turn on my pitot cover. There it is. Yeah, so now batteries are off. Okay. Parking brake set, everything is set. Taxi lights I should have turned off, which I didn't. Everything is off, 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 off. And that completes episode 5. Traffic pattern at night. Man. Oh, that was challenging. And it is very much instrument rate flying, and you have no clue what the weather is like. I mean, you do spot airplanes quicker. At least here in Oceano, there are not a lot of city lights, so you cannot confuse those airplane lights, navigation lights with well, other stuff that's on the ground. Still, also the flows, much better than before. Forgot about the flight control check at the run-up. Should remind myself to do that next time. I did do the taxi checks this time. So the testing the brakes, looking at the turn indicator, slip indicator I did. And there was something else that I missed. Turning down the flaps. I missed turning down the flaps at the pre-flight interior inspection. So I immediately went to the autopilot. I should have pulled those down, because then when you do the exterior walk around, you need to have those flaps down in order to check the wiggle and the thing. And in the exterior walk around, I should have checked the antennas. They are not part of the A2A Simulations check, including a lot of other items that real-world pilots would check when they do the walk around. But I would like to include those antennas, also just to have an understanding of what those antennas are for. I mean, you have to understand your airplane, right? So that's something that I would like to do next time or improve on. And with concern to flying, well, not that bad considering my first night flight. It was hard though. I even got it trimmed a few times, but those landings weren't pretty. I mean, the daytime landings that I did in the previous episode were much, much better. So it's hard for me to determine that that's actually what it is. I mean, that last time, that flare or slow flight, just before touchdown, the it's very useful. That visual reference with the runway is so useful, because then you can see how many feet you are just above, flaring just above the runway, and then you know where to pitch off, and then you can just allow the airplane to land. And at night you don't see the textures of the runway, you only see the lights, and those lights do not give any visual cues of how many feet you are just above the runway, and that kind of like makes it a guessing game. So that made it difficult. That's not an excuse of my underdeveloped flight skills, by the way. I know that I need to improve and work on my flight skills much more, but that is a big difference between a day landing and a nighttime landing. Even though I had my landing lights and taxi lights turned on, so that was difficult. And also the Oceano runway is not that long, so you cannot permit. You cannot allow yourself to make a very long flare, especially when you do a touch and go. So it needs to be spot on, and that also does not help to find that sweet spot where you can allow the airplane just to glide down on itself and just touch down, because it needs to get down before you end the runway. So that was difficult, but it was fun. And as you noticed, perhaps if you know the Uncertified Pilot, if you know my channel and my project at uncertifiedpilot.com, I describe my full flight training series. If you're new, check out my introductory movie, the first episode of this series, where I explain the whole gist of my flight simulator training. But what I try to do there on the website, on my blog, you can see that in all of my stages of flight training, I make a distinction between daytime demonstrations, flight demonstrations, and nighttime. That's also done in real private pilot training. So each procedure that I'm trying to, or each stage of training that I go through, I would like to demonstrate in daytime and in nighttime. So this is also actually part of my training, and you can see what a completely different reality it is to do the same stuff at night in comparison to day. So this is just a traffic pattern that we did at night, but soon we're also going to do cross-country flights by night, and well, all that other stuff, contacting tower and all that other departures and procedures that still seem very daunting to me to execute. But it's that's going to be the way to do it. Do it in daytime and nighttime, and I put all the most perfect or best demonstrations of those different training goals in my flight training program. I put those, I publish those also on my blog, in those video containers that you can see there. So that's the whole idea. And on Twitch here, I stream each and every training flight, and I upload all my flights to YouTube for those who couldn't make it. And especially now on Saturday morning, I obviously a lot of followers in the States are now dreaming, asleep. So you guys can rewatch this episode the following morning. Okay, guys, thank you for being here. I will have a look at tonight if I can fly again, my first cross-country flight to some other uncontrolled airport. If you're interested or have an idea where to go to, what my destination airport could be, let me know. Send me a message or comment on YouTube or wherever to let me know what kind of uncontrolled airport you like me to fly to, and we can see if we can do that. So thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you guys next time. Thank you. Bye.
I'm passing through 500 Shamrock, 715. 715, 134.125.